A nation divided, a Senate evenly split. It could all change as Americans head to the polls. But will Florida shift the balance?
And I think at the end of the day, Floridians will understand that they have a clear choice.
Florida Representative Val Demings hopes to flip one of Florida's Senate seats, turning it blue.
Left unchecked, this trend will continue and the damage to this country will be irreparable.
While Marco Rubio plans to hold on, riding a red wave that moves D.C. to the right. What happens on Election Day could be decided tonight.
And right now we're looking at Palm Beach State College in Lake Worth, Florida, as we get ready for that Senate debate this evening, exclusively from your local election headquarters. Good evening, I'm Stacy Scheibel.
And I'm Josh Benson. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Well, right now we are just an hour away from the Senate debate as incumbent Marco Rubio and Representative Val Demings face off in their effort to win your vote. In
this year's election, Republican Marco Rubio is the incumbent. He has served in the Senate for 12 years, ran for president in 2016. He is the vice chair of the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, the Foreign Relations Committee, and Appropriations Committee.
Meanwhile, Democrat Val Demings is currently a U.S. representative representing the Orlando area. She served in the Orlando Police Department for 27 years and was the city's first female chief of police. She was also on the short list for President Biden's running mate in 2020.
A recent Mason-Dixon poll found that Rubio has a 6-point advantage over Demings, with Rubio capturing 47% of the vote compared to Demings' 41%. That poll, released October 4th, found 10% of Florida voters were still undecided.
But tonight, your local election headquarters has complete team coverage of the debate, beginning with our Keith Kate, who is live tonight in Lake Worth. Hey, Keith.
Josh, Stacy, I'm telling you, the stakes could not be higher tonight, especially for the Democrats. I mean, they know that the nation is watching tonight. They need to perform well. Their candidate, Val Demings, needs to perform well. I mean, they're watching because the control of the Senate, as you've pointed out, really hangs in the balance here. And the Republicans have really put the pressure on the Democrats when you think about what's happening here. You have a handful of states across the country that may be close. And I want to stress here, Florida is not expected to be one of those really close elections on November 8th. But it doesn't mean that Val Demings can't pull an upset. You never know what can happen come Election Day, so let's not write that off. And that's why the Democrats and Val Demings are willing to spend millions to unseat the Senator Marco Rubio. Representative Val Demings may be trailing in most polls, but she's built a fundraising juggernaut, spending more than $40 million on her campaign compared to $22 million spent by her opponent, Marco Rubio. The candidate's burning through millions to win support and, more importantly, votes. Abortion rights, crime, the economy, everything's on the table entering this debate.
Like the cost of goods and services, the cost of gas, taking away constitutional rights, the future of their children.
Rubio spent millions trying to portray Demings, a former police chief, as someone who supports defunding the police, being in lockstep with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and the radical left.
And I understand she's singing a different tune now. Every Democrat's singing a different tune now that the lunacy of that is becoming to full focus and crime is surging around the country.
The candidates differ greatly on abortion rights and immigration. This is what they said about sending migrants from Florida to Martha's Vineyard.
What I know, it is not reflective of who we are as a nation.
Just to be clear, you support flying migrants out of Florida, or you do not?
I do not have a problem with what the governor's doing. If all these states are in favor of allowing people who come in here to stay and they keep bragging about how they're so open-minded, then they should assume some of the costs.
The candidates also disagree about how to pay for Hurricane Ian. Demings voted for a bill containing $18 billion for FEMA's disaster relief fund. Rubio did not. He prefers a $33 billion aid package without what he calls pork, unrelated to the storm.
So the reason why I put that proposal out is not just to get the ball rolling, it's to delineate what's true emergency relief and what isn't. Emergency relief is anything that helps respond to the immediate crisis after a storm.
With only weeks left before the election, voters will finally get a chance to see these two candidates debate the issues face to face, as control of the Senate hangs in the balance. I'm joined out here live now with our political analyst, Dr. Susan McManus. Dr. McManus, thank you for being with us tonight. I want to make one quick clarification to the story you just saw, because today, new numbers this morning came out in terms of spending. I said 40-20, Demings and Rubio and what they spent. It's now $60 million and almost $40 million. So she is spending $20 million more, has already spent $20 million more than Marco Rubio. Doesn't compare to Rick Scott. Remember 2018?
Oh, yes.
Rick Scott put $65 million of his own money into this thing. It really takes a lot of money to win a Senate seat. Why is that, and what is it about millions and millions of dollars being pumped into a race like this?
Well, you've got to do big television buys on a multiplicity of markets. You've got to buy social media, radio, mailers, plus you also have to pay for polling to help you figure out what messages to use in your ads. You also have to hire advertising specialists who figure out the right colors and the right space to have.
Apparently it's getting
ad.
more expensive every year.
And you know, Keith, it's also interesting that of all 50 states, Florida is projected to spend more on advertising this election season than any other state, including California.
It's unbelievable when you think about the numbers, but when you also think about the issues, you said you use that money to buy your influence on what you're pushing, and for the Democrats it really has been abortion. I know we will hear about abortion rights tonight, but that issue, which was really pushing momentum in June when Roe v. Wade was first decided, and now those numbers have fallen quite a bit. Do you think it's still the #1 issue, or do you think that inflation and the economy is at the top?
I think the inflation and the economy are suddenly at the very top because you've had all the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, and inflation indices come out, and there won't be another one. This is it till Election Day, so they're kind of stuck with these kind of bad numbers. And
so social issues, when the economy's bad, it's tough to sell.
And there's an old saying, James Carville, one of the most famous Democrats, said it very succinctly. He says, it's the economy, stupid. And we're seeing that it's probably going to be that again this time. Not to say that abortion is still not an issue that Democrats are using, particularly to try to get some younger women to the polls that may not normally vote in a midterm. But it's the economy that's really taking people's attention because it's an everyday thing.
You go to the grocery store, you go to the gas stations,
Right.
You're feeling it.
Yeah.
The one thing we haven't heard a lot in the campaign itself, but we might tonight, is the international issues that are out there we have to be concerned about. What do you think they'll talk about?
Because the U.S. Senate is the one that's responsible for foreign policy and makes treaties and all of that kind of thing. We're certainly going to hear about Ukraine, but we're going to hear a lot about Latin American countries, Haiti, Cuba, Venezuela,
you bet.
You name it. It's going to be a big part of this discussion because that's also an important piece to talk about when it comes to the big Latino population in Florida.
Dr. Susan McManus, we look forward to your analysis after the debate. You are going inside. I'll let you go because I think the seats are already filling up. Thank you for your time here so far. Again, tonight you're going to be watching this debate live right here on News Channel 8. It's the only place you can watch this debate. I do expect the sparks to fly, and if they don't, then it'll be kind of disappointing in one way. You're 3 weeks away from the election here, Stacey and Josh. I mean, it's all or nothing. Everything's on the table right now as you come down to the wire.
Yeah, as you said it, there sure is a lot to talk about, so a lot of eyeballs going to be watching this tonight. Keith Kate live for us in Lake Worth. Keith, thanks so much.
And just to reiterate, you can watch that debate right here on News Channel 8, and it will be streaming live on WFLA Now. After the debate, you can vote on who you believe won the debate in a WFLA Now poll.
Are you ready for some really chilly air when you wake up tomorrow morning? A big difference from this morning. If you walked outside this morning, you probably wondered, well, it's kind of steamy out still. That's right. The front was passing around mid to late morning, and now that chilly air on its way in. It hasn't arrived yet, but the winds have picked up. It's becoming breezy out there. Overnight tonight, temperatures will tumble, and when you wake up in the morning, we will be in the 40s and 50s, depending upon where you live. Max Defender 8 radar right now. Most of the rain is gone, as you can see, so we're clearing out. The front is way down here towards Lake Okeechobee, and behind it, that northwesterly flow is starting to bring temperatures down. We're down to 70 degrees right now in Crystal River, 73 degrees in Zephyr Hills, 75 in Lakewood Ranch. The average high this time of year is 86 degrees, so we're way below normal right now, and those temperatures will continue to fall. In fact, here we are at 8 o'clock. We're at 70 degrees. We're already in the low 60s by 11 o'clock and midnight. And when you wake up in the morning in Tampa, we're likely to be in the low to mid 50s. But areas of the Nature Coast, you'll be in the upper 40s, as you can see. Tomorrow morning, 46 degrees in Crystal River. Same thing in Brooksville, a little bit more mild in places like Newport Richey. And also remember, it is going to be on the breezy side, so it'll probably feel even cooler. You will need a sweater and maybe a light jacket when you step out in the morning. How long will this last? I'll have the answer coming up.
A Polk County mom is still living in fear days after narrowly escaping gunfire just outside of her apartment. Winter Haven's Gladybell Caudill tells News Channel 8 she was sitting alone in her car after an overnight work shift. She says a man appeared with a gun ordering her to get out of the car. Caudill put the car in reverse and sped away while the man and his teenage son fired 7 shots at her.
I was driving and calling police at the same time. I was so scared because my family was still home and the rest of the neighborhood, I mean, everyone was still sleeping and they were shooting recklessly in all directions.
The sheriff's office arrested Gino Colon-Acosta and his 15-year-old son. Authorities say they mistakenly thought someone was trying to break into their apartment. Well, President Biden says more than 40 million Americans are now eligible to apply for his student debt cancellation program.
And those who qualify could receive up to $20,000 in debt forgiveness. 8 on Your Side's Brittany Muller joins us live in studio with what you need to know. And Brittany, more than 8 million people have already applied.
Stacey, Josh, that's right. And it's a pretty simple and straightforward application, taking about 5 minutes to complete. I'll walk you through it. You'll first want to go to studentaid.gov, then start your application to apply. You'll type in some personal information, including your name, social security number, and date of birth. You'll also have to verify that you make less than $125,000, then submit. It's that simple.
I'm paying for my tuition by myself.
Julia Dunning has about $80,000 in private student loans and an additional $10,000 in government loans to pay off.
Any amount counts. I'm definitely a penny pincher, so anything that I can get, I'll take.
President Biden says this is a game changer.
As millions of people fill out the application, we're going to make sure the system continues to work as smoothly as possible, so that we can deliver student loan relief for millions of Americans as quickly and as efficiently as possible.
You can apply if you've earned less than $125,000 in the past 2 years, or families that earned less than $250,000. The debt relief program has sparked controversy and criticism from some Republicans.
Their outrage is wrong and it's hypocritical. I will never apologize for helping working Americans and middle-class people as they recover from the pandemic.
The Biden administration says it could take up to 6 weeks to process. Now, if you apply by mid-November, you should get your debt canceled by the new year. The application will be open through December 31st. Josh?
All right, Brittany, thanks so much. We'll chalk up another change in plans to Hurricane Ian.
Yeah, the Venice Chalk Festival was all set for a big comeback this year. Now it's on the move. Still ahead, organizers think they can still pull off an amazing show, even if it's not what they hoped for.
And it's a big night for the Bolts. Dan Lucas live at Amalie Arena. Dan.
Yeah, they're getting ready to fire up pregame warm-ups here shortly. It's the Lightning and the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, the first game at home for the Bolts. We're going to hear about all this excitement from the players coming up in sports.
Well, more than 150 artists from around the world flock to Venice every year for the annual Chalk Festival. Following the pandemic, a big return of the full-scale event was planned for the end of this month at Venice Municipal Airport. But impacts from Hurricane Ian have forced organizers to change course at the last minute.
That's right. They recently received word from the city that the fairgrounds at the airport are closed to special events until further notice. Tonight, News Channel 8's Allison Henning shows us the backup plan.
Chalk Festival organizers are backpedaling on 2 years of planning for their biggest event yet.
We were moving forward, and it wasn't until finally, I think on the 7th of October, that the plug was completely pulled.
3 weeks out, organizer Denise Kowal got this email from Venice city officials saying the municipal airport won't be able to accommodate this month's event because of impacts from Hurricane Ian. From canceling flights and accommodations for the international artists to alerting vendors of the news, the last few weeks have been busy and a big financial hit for the local nonprofit.
The economic impacts in the hundreds of thousands, and on the region, it's going to be in the millions.
The event brings tens of thousands of people to Venice. Local businesses are disappointed to miss out on another year.
It's just a great boon for tourism in the city. We obviously see a huge influx in our restaurants. It makes our staff excited because they've got more people, new faces, and definitely some added revenue.
A smaller scale series of events will take place in the Burns Court District in downtown Sarasota, but instead of 160 plus international artists, there will be about 25. Unlike at the fairgrounds, there will be no formal admission charge for the events here in Burns Court in Sarasota. However, the nonprofit is asking for donations at the events, as every dollar they raise goes back into the festival. Reporting from Sarasota, Allison Henning, 8 on your side.
Max Defender 8, the most advanced weather radar in Florida. Sponsored by Cool Today.
Start digging deep into the back of your closets. You're going to need it by tomorrow morning and especially Thursday morning, because a lot of us are headed into the 40s. Daytime highs in the upper 60s. That is more normal for January, not October. Why is this happening? We have a really extreme jet stream heat to the tune of temperatures in the 80s being shunted all the way north into Canada as the jet stream rides to the north, but it does come south in the eastern part of the country. And so we have the polar vortex across the Great Lakes right now, and that's drilling down some chilly air. So it will be pretty chilly around here, believe it or not. Now, some of us can take it a little better than others. I don't particularly like the chilly air very much, so we'll see what happens tomorrow morning. But 73 is the current temperature. Cooler air is flowing, and it's not chilly yet by any means. The dew point's down below 70 now. It's down to 60. We're headed to a dew point around 29 degrees when you wake up tomorrow morning. It's really dry air, and you'll feel it when you walk outside. And it's already starting to come in, and it will continue to come in this evening. Max Defender 8 radar, we had some showers across our southern counties. That is pretty much done. So let's show you the hour-by-hour temperature forecast. Here we are at 8 o'clock. Temperatures dropping into the 60s on the Nature Coast. And then as we head towards 11, we see our first 59. There's 59 in Crystal River. When you wake up in the morning, we're looking at 40s, Hernando County, Citrus County, into parts of Pasco County. Everybody else about 50 to 55 degrees. That's really cool for this time of year. Watch what happens tomorrow afternoon. We're in the 60s all day. The average high is 86 degrees. The majority of the day, we're around 66 degrees. We'll get as high as 69. We will be about 15 to 20 degrees below normal during the day tomorrow. And look at these wake-up temperatures. Thursday morning in Crystal River, you're 41. Inverness, you could be as low as 39 degrees. That is chilly. Look at this. Now, these might be a little bit low, but we are talking temperatures hovering around 40 degrees on Thursday morning, recovering a little bit as we head towards the weekend. So breezy and cool is the story. Chilly start. That's the coldest morning on Thursday. Then we see a milder day on Friday, and that milder trend continues as we head into the weekend. We're not expecting any rain Saturday or Sunday. It's going to be a nice weekend. Humidity will not be that high, and we'll see a decent amount of sun. And temperatures from 69 for a high during the day tomorrow, finally back to around 84 degrees as we head into Sunday. That's the good news in the tropics. Development not expected over the next several days. Here's a look at your 8-day forecast. So yeah, we're getting a rare treat for some of us and a trick for other folks, depending upon whether you like the cool weather or not. It certainly is going to be a bit of a shock to the system as we head through the next couple of days, but we will see a rebound as we head into the weekend. Today, I went to the Family of Christ Christian School in Tampa Palms. We had a great time chatting with the students. They were asking lots of questions. I was answering lots of questions. They guessed that my age is somewhere between 28 and 50 years old.
They were right.
They were right. It's amazing. I like the ones who said 28, but, you know, nothing against the other kids there. But I had a great time.
Are those the ones who need glasses?
What are you saying?
Is
it my receding hairline that's talking to
you? Can start picking on me, too.
I love coming to schools. And by the way, I will be doing a lot more of those schools, weather at WFLA.com, if you'd like me to come to your school.
That sounds good.
That sounds fun.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff. Now here's a look at what's coming up on News Nation.
The mayor of New York admits politicians, prosecutors, and the media are against police. The new polling showing voters disagree with them all. That's On Balance. Here's Cuomo.
Coming up tonight on the show, our interview with the artist formerly known as Kanye West went viral. But what really matters is what he was saying. We look at the rise of anti-Semitism in America. And her Navy SEAL son died during Hell Week. Is the Navy doing enough to make sure its sailors are safe? Tonight on my show on News Nation.
That's all coming up tonight on the fastest growing cable news network in America, News Nation, available on the channels you see right there on your screen. And we will be back with sports.
Good evening from Amalie Arena. It is here, opening night, home opener at least for the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's been almost a decade since the Bolts began the season on the road, which is what they've done this year. They played 3 games before coming back home to the friendly surroundings of Amalie tonight, and the fans can't wait to see them take on the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, on the ice, the team has had a so-so start to the season. Steven Stamkos, red hot out of the gate. He is tied for the lead in goals in the NHL with 4 goals. Other than that, they've had 2 frustrating losses, so John Cooper and the guys want to see things get a little bit better tonight. And everybody also knows it's not panic time in October, but you know October hockey is about building a foundation.
In hockey, it's about trying to get as many points as games on the road and then taking care of your home game. So, you know, we didn't quite do that on the first trip, so we're going to make up for it here in the home games.
If we can just build momentum and build off that and feed off that and continue to get a little streak going, it's huge. You know, you got a lot of road games coming up. You know, it could be tough sometimes, so any game you get at home is huge, and just build momentum off that and take it to the road.
All right, the USF football team confirmed our fears today regarding quarterback Gary Bohannon. He is out for the rest of the season with a shoulder injury. Bohannon got hurt diving on a run during the Tulane game last Saturday. And guys, the Bucs had a late announcement this afternoon. They're placing safety Logan Ryan on injured reserve, so that's a bit of a blow to the Bucs defense. As you can see behind me here, warm-ups are underway. It is the home opener, the Lightning and the Flyers tonight. Let's send it back to you guys.
Yeah, always a good time.
And thank you for joining us. We do want to remind you right after nightly news tonight, it's time for the Senate debate between Marco Rubio and Val Demings.
That's right. We are counting down to our exclusive coverage of the debate. Now just about 33 minutes away. You can watch it right here on News Channel 8 and on WFLA Now. And we will be back here at 11. Good night.